Okay. Okay, I'm so excited for this.
Yes, I know I am too. It's gonna be so good. And thank you so much for having me.
Thank
Thank
you
you for
for,
joining us.
yes, and agreeing to join. We've been talking about doing a collab with you for so long,
Mhm.
and we both said that we like consider you our first podcast friend. So we wanted you
Oh
to
my
be our first like real collaboration.
God. That is so cool because what's so funny is when I came onto the scene,
Mhm.
you guys were like the one of the first podcasts that I was really listening to in like
Uh,
the creepy paranormal community.
Yeah.
And you guys were like one of the first ones to like befriend me. And I was like, oh
Aw.
my God, I'm like, they're so awesome. I'm like,
Aw.
so I'm like,
Oh,
oh my gosh, that's great.
Yeah.
Because sometimes you reach out to people and you never know what you're gonna get.
yeah.
And I
Yeah.
was like, oh no, they're like totally dope and awesome.
Oh, we felt the same way about you
Yeah.
too. We were so excited.
Mhm.
Oh.
Yay.
Okay, this episode, I just want to warn you, it's a little bit long.
Okay.
Just because I included a lot of the history of this
Okay.
location that we're going to talk about, because I
Okay.
I don't know if this has ever happened to you, but researching this place, I like truly got obsessed with it and I was looking at every single thing that has ever happened here. I couldn't stop
Mhm.
reading about it. Even after I finished the script for the episode, I was like, no,
Mhm.
I need to know more. So it's
Oh my gosh,
definitely,
yes. Been there. I
yeah.
totally get it. I totally get it.
So it's definitely one of those places. Also,
Okay,
I'm
cool.
a little bit sick right now, so my voice is not
She's all
Oh,
not
sinusy.
sounding the best right now.
I swear I had like 3 episodes where I'm like, no one's gonna listen to this. Everyone's gonna get irritated with how I
Yeah.
sounded. They're gonna be
Yeah.
like, I do not want to listen to this.
Yeah. That's how I feel.
It should be called annoying shit, not creepy shit.
Okay.
Okay, so today's episode is going to be about the haunted Preston Castle.
I'm already in.
Dun dun dun.
Right? Dun, dun, dun.
Cue eerie music.
I'll add some
Right?
playlist. Welcome to Tea Tales and Talks, where we talk about spooky things, drink some tea, and try not to get too scared. I'm Sarah, I'll be your host
And I'm Mackenzie. I'll be your co-host.
for these strange and unsettling tales. In this episode, we're taking a trip into the very haunted Preston Castle Reform School, so grab a spooky cup and join us for this haunted journey. Woo!
Yeah, absolutely. I got mine right here, yo.
Yeah.
Yay! So, you guys may have noticed we do have another passenger for this journey today. We have a little special guest, and it's our friend Star from Creepy Shit Podcast.
Yay!
Yay! Hi, guys.
Thank you so much for joining us. We're so excited about this episode. And if you
Oh,
guys
thank you.
don't already know, which you should because we talk about her all the time, Star has a spooky podcast called Creepy Shit where she does a similar thing to what we do, but 100 times better. And if you're looking for more
Oh.
creepy shit and haunted locations and spooky folklore, please go follow Star and the Creepy Shit podcast on all platforms.
Oh my gosh, you're so amazing. Thank you so much. I'm so honored to be here. This is so cool. And like I was saying, like you guys were one of the very first podcasts that I started listening to
Yeah.
when I came on the scene. And like I just totally adore you guys too. So the feeling is
Oh,
very mutual. So
mutual.
thank you.
Oh. We are beyond excited for this episode, and I even put it in my notes. I feel a little nervous, a little performance anxiety.
that that's okay. No worries. Believe me, I'm one of the most laid back people. Not
Oh
much is
yeah.
gonna ruffle my feathers.
This is also our first like real main episode collaboration that we've done, so we're feeling the pressure a little
Very
bit, but we're very
right
excited.
on. Yay, good. Yes, awesome.
Yay! Okay, so I did try my best to make this episode as interesting as possible, which was not too difficult because this place has some crazy history, and intense lore, and even crazier paranormal activity. I will warn you that this episode is a little bit long and it's a very history heavy. So we're getting back into our history roots with this one.
I love
Oh,
history.
I love it.
We love history. We're history buffs. I think our very first
I do
podcast,
too,
we did mostly history and we're like, sorry, but this is what we like.
right? Yes, absolutely. Nope, I do. I love the historical stuff, and it's always interesting to see how we have either evolved in certain aspects, and then there's certain aspects where it's like, not a whole lot's changed.
Yeah.
Like,
History's repeating itself, or we're still
Yep.
here.
That's exactly right.
Absolutely.
So, Mac doesn't know this location. I kept this one a surprise for her too.
Mhm.
I know
Oh,
that you
yay.
said you're not too familiar with this one either, so I'm
Nope.
really excited.
Yeah, I know, right? This will be good.
It's a big reveal. Cut me off, ask me questions, make
Okay.
comments, anything.
Okay.
Make a little joke. That's what Mac likes to do.
Oh, I'm with Mac on that. Like,
Perfect.
I always have some sort of snarky smartass thing that I'm gonna say.
Perfect.
It's my native
Respectfully though, because
Right?
it's like, sometimes it gets a little dark and it's like, okay, we need to laugh.
Yes.
Like
Yeah.
palate cleanser.
Yeah,
100%. Comedic relief.
Yeah.
We need that.
Yes.
for sure.
So basically, I'm going to tell you guys a little bit of a story with this location and then diving into the history and the architecture because we are designers, so that is also our niche.
I love it.
And to help create a mental floor plan for this place because it's a little bit insane.
It's a maze.
Yes, it's a bit of a maze. It's a bit large and in charge. And then we go into the deep, dark, spooky stuff.
Sweet.
Okay.
Breathe, Sarah, breathe.
I'm just too excited. Like,
We didn't do the High School Musical warm-up before this.
oh, we didn't.
We should have.
All right. So, the Preston School of Industry and Preston Youth Correctional Facility was built in the 1890s in Ione, California. Known officially as the Preston School of Industry, this place garnered its nickname as the Preston Castle, or the Castle, for its grandiose display of Romanesque Revival architecture. It was a boys' reform school, though I use the term school very loosely. Specifically, it was meant for juvenile offenders to try rehabilitate them. Now, in its prime, Preston Castle was known as one of the best reform schools in the States. Though I did read, it wasn't that it was literally the best reform school, but it was one of the oldest at that time and one of the most historically significant schools, specifically in the era of the youth correctional facilities. The school officially opened its doors in 1894. So the architecture of it all, the school in its entirety is 50,000 square feet, including 4 floors, a third floor annex, a mezzanine, and a basement. This site sits on 13 acres of land, and there are a couple other smaller buildings on the property, but they're not too important to the story that we're about to tell. I just wanted to give a little lay of the land for that.
Mhm.
The overall style of the building is Romanesque Revival, which we especially see in all of the rounded arches in the school and the decorative brickwork. Now, the whole design of the building was done very intentionally to make it look more like a school rather than a rehabilitation center or an institution. So they wanted it to appear grand and prestigious, which, in my opinion, was also done to create a facade to hide what was really going on there.
Don't look too closely behind the curtain.
Pay no attention to the man behind the curtain.
Exactly. Just look at how pretty it is.
But seriously though, like I'm like, okay, you're painting me this picture and I had to look it up. I'm like,
Yes.
okay, I gotta know what this looks like. Oh my
Wait,
God, it's dripping with like
Oh, yeah.
serious architectural
Yeah.
like beauty and total like just looking at it too, I'm like, oh, that place is creepy as fuck.
Yes,
Like-
100%.
Which is why we needed our expert here.
Yes. So their original plan for this building included 77 rooms to house all of the boys, though after some of the renovations that it underwent throughout the years, they bumped that up to 120 rooms. Now, that being said, they at one point in time were housing up to 800 boys across the campus. So they definitely did not have the adequate number of rooms to house the amount of people that were in the facility.
Classic.
Okay.
So
That's scary too.
that is too.
Right?
Exactly.
Because like where are you sleeping? Like
Yeah.
how is that working?
How's everybody
And
fitting
awkward.
there?
Yeah, just bring them in there. Just get some number
Yeah.
in there. Yeah. Nuh-uh. So the castle is the main building, and while it did not hold a lot of the dormitory rooms, it was also the centerpiece and the hub of a lot of other things. So we'll start from the ground up. And by ground, we're going to start below the ground.
Below, underground.
We're going to start in the basement.
Oh,
This is where
beast.
the laundry was, the kitchen, and the food prep area, bathrooms, and storage as well. Then there was a section with the showers and the foot bath and the infamous plunge pool. This will come into play later.
Yeah.
So Sarah's going to go into a little.
I like to give a little Easter eggs and foreshadowing, so just remember the
Yeah.
plunge pool.
Remember. All right, now moving up, we're on to the first floor. So this is where the reception and the administrative area was, up front, nice and close to the entrance. And then the clerk's office, the director's room and office, a sitting room, a butler's pantry filled with like serving and field prep area. Then we had the dining room, a physician's office and pharmacy, and the employee bathrooms and staff dining area. So the first floor was mostly holding all of the staff functions and all of their rooms. And then up on the second floor, we had the reading room, the library, and the main schoolroom, some bedrooms, and a second floor annex with some more sleeping quarters. The second floor also housed a locker room for storage of clothing and linen storage. The mezzanine level was mostly consistent of bedrooms and bathrooms. Then on the third and fourth floor, we had approximately 18 additional dorm rooms up there. We do want to note that this is a sort of historians making their best educated guesses for some of what the rooms were, because the Preston Castle has had considerable disrepair for years, and basically it's been a permanent shutdown since the 1960s. Although there was a Preston Castle Foundation established in 2001, and they've been trying their best to fund and make repairs.
So even in
That's awesome.
the images online, you can see like it's hard to identify most things within the castle, but they do have their own organization where they host tours and things to try to raise money to repair it.
I was going to ask that. Like, do they offer anything? Because that's going to be their moneymaker to like truly like flip it around and make it happen. Because like, gosh, even if they could like get it to a point where they could. Granted, I'm not on the committee.
But if I was.
But if they could get it to a point that it's repaired enough that people could handle a sleepover, are you kidding me? Just based on the history alone, paranormal investigators would flock to this.
That's
like,
exactly right.
100%.
Yeah. So that's one of the things that it like makes me sad whenever older buildings like this are not being taken care of properly, but I was so happy to hear that they are making an effort to do so.
Yeah.
But because
I love that.
It's such a huge building, obviously that takes time and money and a lot of work, so
it does, and it's so sad because I don't like it when historical things like that. I mean, that's seriously a landmarker, no matter what, you know. And I don't like seeing that stuff go away. Like there are rumors going around, just kind of off the subject, but not really, about Penhurst going away. And they're saying that they're going to take it away because of AI facilities and build something new. And I'm like, don't do that. Like, don't do that. Like, that's not necessary. Like, there's got to be another way. You don't need to take away something that is so historically valuable and to create more AI. I think we're okay.
I think we're good. We're okay. We'll be fine. Actually, we can use our brains a little bit more. It's okay.
Yes.
That also is like one of the things that we run into a lot with design and architecture too, like in our day-to-day jobs, is like we love history and historic buildings, but being in an industry where like new builds and developments that's like our job, it's like it's like a little piece of like for me, I'm like my soul is like I hate this part of what we do because I would much rather that we like reconfigure an existing building, like just update or bring it back to life than like tearing down an old building, building something new that is ugly in my opinion. Like way too boring. Exactly.
Just because
there's nothing that drives me more crazy than going through like one of those residential suburb like neighborhoods and every single house looks the same, and it's like, did I just enter a Tim Burton movie? And it's not even that great.
No. Not it's awful. It's awful.
I'm like, I
Exactly.
refuse to ever have a house like that. I
Oh
really
yeah.
yeah.
do.
If
Like,
I do, I've told Sarah to shoot me. Like,
Yeah,
take
we're
me
like,
out in the
no,
yeah.
back.
we
Don't
can't do
ever
this.
do it.
If I get the opportunity to like actually design my own home, which
Mhm.
fun fact, my father-in-law is an architect.
Wow.
And I'm like, it would just be so cool to have a ranch style,
Mhm.
Mm.
Victorian style home.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like that would be super cool to build.
Yes,
Oh
it
And you
yeah.
don't see that stuff
Yeah.
anymore.
No.
You know, like let's bring it
Exactly.
back.
Mhm.
Bring it
Yeah.
back.
Amen.
Okay, sorry, I'm getting off subject.
It's okay. We could talk
No.
about this forever.
Our
I know,
favorite.
right?
Okay, so now we're gonna be
Hit this
talking
elevator.
about the history of this place. And now this is gonna be the biggest chunk of this episode because the history is extensive, to say the
She's
least.
thick.
She's thick, yeah. It's a lot.
Okay.
Yes.
All right, spill that tea.
Ooh. Okay, so we talked about how on the outside, this place appears to be a prestigious, grand, classic-looking building, but some of the things that were going on were less than nice and less than normal. Preston wasn't just a reform school or rehabilitation institution, it was a place that housed juvenile offenders of every degree. Now, that means that murderers or serial killers were rooming with petty thieves, and the ages of these boys went from 14 to 24 years old.
They just mixed them all together.
That's a leap.
Which is just an insane margin for
Yeah.
ages. That
Group?
yeah. Their official claim was that they housed boys 16 to 21, which is not much better, but
Yeah, it's really not.
it's definitely not the truth either.
But that's far better than 14 to 24.
Yes.
Like, dang.
Yeah. I did read in my research that although that was their official statement, that there were boys that were sent there that were much, much younger than even 16.
Oh, I don't like that.
Yeah.
I just got chills. I ain't liking
Yeah.
this.
I don't like that.
I also found that sometimes the boys would literally just be orphans or homeless, or that their parents
Oh.
would just drop them off because they couldn't afford them. So this was one of those places like we would see in the old sanatoriums where it's like the undesirables, quote unquote, would be sent
Yes.
there. Like if you don't have someone to take care of you, or if you even if you like have autism or some sort of mental illness, if you're just poor, they're like, okay,
Mhm.
get away, you can go there.
Mhm.
And that was a huge thing during the Great Depression too.
Yes.
Like families couldn't do it. And
Yeah.
like it just breaks my heart like so much. Like I am a mom.
Yeah.
Like I could never. Are you kidding me? I
Yeah.
could never do that.
Mhm.
Like I would rather die than
Yeah.
let that happen.
Right?
Like, like, oh my gosh.
And it's obviously at a time like that, it's hard enough to have to, like, if you have no other choice to do that, but then to find out that you've sent your child to a place like this that you
Right.
assumed
Like
would
that you thought
be,
you could trust.
yes,
Yeah. And with
Yeah.
prestigious, and
exactly.
they'll be in a better place. They'll be taken
Place.
care of.
Yeah.
All of that stuff.
Yes.
Yeah. So that
Oh,
part is,
sitting on a throne of lies, I tell you.
yeah. So in the first couple of years, they took a tally of how many boys were coming in for certain crimes, and the first 2 years they said there was about 300 boys. Now, 98 of them were in this facility for burglary, and 81 were there for being homeless. So
Okay.
that's about almost a third simply because they were poor and didn't have a place to go.
Well, and that was what I was thinking too. Like, is the burglary charges really about greed? I don't think it is. So
No.
it's probably about survival.
For sure.
Right? They stole some bread. They stole
Yes,
food.
exactly.
Yeah. They're not looking to steal diamonds.
No, for sure.
Not doing a bank heist.
No. I also saw that one boy was sent there for vulgar language. Now, that was the most shocking one to me because what do you mean vulgar language?
Like, right?
He
Like,
swore at a
yeah, what is
teacher,
vulgar
like, I
language
don't-
back then?
Exactly.
Did he say, heck?
Oh, yeah.
Like,
Darn tootin'.
Yeah.
vulgar language. Boy, I'd be thrown in
Oh,
there.
yeah.
We got a few E's on our episodes, we'd be gone.
But that shows you
Yes.
like the like drastic difference in like the crimes that were of the boys that were sent there, which in most cases were not really crimes at all.
Mm-hmm.
It's a little bit crazy that that was going on.
Mm-hmm.
So there were a lot of stories and talks about abuse and neglect going on in the Preston Castle for a long time. Even while it was up and running, it sort of had a little bit of a reputation. The most infamous thing that they would do there was taking the new boys and immediately shaving their heads and forcing them into the plunge pool. So that's the pool I mentioned in the basement, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't like any of this so far. Like the people that are like in charge of this, I don't like them.
I don't
I
like
don't
Right?
like them.
So the plunge pool was apparently filled with lye, which I did not know what that was, but it's something to help fight
Oh,
off lice in the olden
it
days.
is. It can also give you like a serious chemical burn in its
Yes.
pure form. Like, do you remember the scene in Fight Club where he's got his hand out on the table? That's lye.
Oh, see, yeah. So they would mix lye and a couple other chemicals, which
Vice.
cool, just
Oh,
poisoning everybody
Betty.
basically.
Yeah.
And they would make the boys jump into the pool and stay in there for at least 30 seconds to decontaminate, which is just,
Oof.
it's so horrible. I just can't even imagine
Yeah.
what are you coming out of there with? What
You're
are you,
dirty.
yeah.
Oh my
And
God.
Yeah.
also, are they changing the water and the chemicals and stuff, or are they just, it's like one person after another going in and out?
Right?
How
Like, oh, it's all
clean?
chemicals. It's all self-cleaning, so you're
Yes.
fine.
You're good.
Yeah.
You're good. Just get in
Yeah,
there.
like right, just go
But is
ahead.
it really? The discipline that they practiced here was anything but normal.
Sure.
This section is going to be a little bit darker. This is my formal warning for this part. For punishments and to correct behavior, they would often starve the boys or put them in isolation. There was even allegedly public lashings. So if the
Oh,
crime was
yeah.
bad enough, then they would publicly have to make an example of you.
Amazing.
But it wasn't just the punishments that were vile and over the top, but everyday life at Preston was a fight to survive. The boys were forced to do military style training and tasks under the command of their class captains and lieutenants. These captains, who I assume got to that position by being at the school for a long period of time and must have not been much older than the other boys, it was boys leading boys. They were given shorter sentences basically for following orders. These captains would beat the new students to show a sense of authority, and of course, nothing was done to stop this by the supervisors. They were like,
Hmm.
okay,
Hmm.
you guys handle it the way that you want to.
Oof. Wolf.
Yeah.
Now, there are stories upon stories of the boys. They called them wards at this time because they were living inside of the facility.
Mm-hmm.
Stories of them dying of illnesses like tuberculosis or even syphilis. And I did see an article that they described it as, quote, badly planned and overcrowded. And that by the early 1900s, a lot of the staff were resigning based on the conditions and the treatments of the wards. So even the people working there were acknowledging, hey, this is not right. This is not
Yeah, like
what we
this is
should be
not okay.
doing.
Like, okay, I'm out.
Yeah,
And
Yes.
red
like,
flag. I can't
good
put
for
up with
you for listening to your
Yeah.
conscience because seriously.
Obviously, they didn't have the adequate facilities to not only house all of the boys, but to take care of them properly, nor did they make an effort to fix that. So, although there were
Shocking.
staff resign,
Wow.
exactly, resigning, there was not a lot of implementation to make any changes. So, I would say it's a little more of a like bystander effect because a lot of people were like, I don't want to be involved, but nobody was doing anything to change what was happening.
Mm.
So many of the boarding students suffered abuse at the hands of those who were meant to help shape them and teach them, as well as their fellow dorm mates. There were many reports over the years of horrible assaults, sexual abuse, and gang violence. One guard in 1911 actually went to the governor of California after another guard had shot a ward who was trying to escape to
Holy
tell,
shit.
yeah, to basically tell him of the incident and to tell him what was going on, how they were treating the boys. Um, and he claimed that this is a quote from him: "The boys who would incur displeasure of the officials at the school are confined to insanity quarters flayed on their bare back with a heavy strap and given a bread and water diet with more water than bread. So
Oh,
pretty much isolated and starved and like physically beaten and abused.
oh my
And
gosh.
simply just for going against one of the officers or one of the supervisors. So that could be something as simple as like talking back or not finishing something or doing something not in the precise way they wanted you to.
Please tell me this governor did something.
Unfortunately not.
Ugh,
Cool. Cool.
figures.
Here we are.
Yep, here we are.
Here we are. There was also an infamous superintendent there in the early years of the school who had a reputation for brutal, unnecessary punishments. There are accounts of Stephen O'Brien, we're name dropping him, beating the boys
Okay.
over the head with a cane, fist fighting the boys as young as 16. Flogging and lashings were also common for him to deal as punishment. Yeah.
That is so morbidly fucked.
That is like a
Right?
prime example of somebody
Just
like,
abusing their power.
yeah, letting the power get to them.
Yeah.
Like, I can do whatever I want.
And also, he's just doing it because he enjoys it, and he's a sociopath. Like he's just a sick individual.
Sick and twisted. Yeah.
Oh,
And he's like, well, I can do whatever I want, so I might as well do exactly what I want.
yeah.
Right? Which, like, okay, that's terrifying that
Right?
that's what you actually want to do.
Yes. And he's the highest like authority in the whole place. So who are you gonna tell about this when
Who do you go to?
the boss of the boss
Yeah.
is doing this?
Right? Because clearly the governor doesn't care.
No. We're screwed. We're screwed.
Yeah.
So there is one documented account from the board secretary who claimed that, quote, O'Brien became brave and threatened. Oh, this is like a specific incident. I should give a little context.
Okay.
About like a conflict that happened between the superintendent and one of the wards. And I guess this secretary witnessed this, but she like made a claim of like, this is what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
So she said, quote, O'Brien became brave and threatened the boy that if he ever dared to speak to him in Ione, so in the place that they were in California, that he would blow a hole in him that a team could run through, and showed him a revolver.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's dark.
That's
dark.
That's some like mob boss situation.
That is some
on.
serious mob boss behavior.
Just for talking to him.
Yeah.
Again, if you talk to me while you're in this city.
And it didn't say the age of the boy who was involved in the incident, but they're boys. Like it's not another grown man.
Nonetheless, they're under the age of 21, most likely.
Yes.
You know, yeah.
So that
they're a minor.
Yep, they're a minor.
Yeah, he's obviously a horrible person.
Yes, a very horrible person. I like sincerely, you know, I'm not like an overly religious person, but if hell exists, I really hope you're rotting there.
Yeah,
Please.
please. And another account. I did find another account of a boy with a knee injury. He was in the infirmary, and O'Brien, the superintendent, came to visit him. And this is, other people witnessed this. They saw this happen, where O'Brien visited and began grabbing and twisting the boy's leg around while the boy was screaming. Now, he did this because he was kind of like, are you really hurt? Or
telling if he was faking it?
Yeah, kind of. There was also a little bit of, obviously, all of this stuff it's old information, so it's hard to clearly depict what really happened, but some people said
my first thought is like, hey, come here, let me poke you in the eye because I don't believe that you can see.
Yes.
Right?
So... Yeah.
Like, okay, yeah, sure.
Let me know how that feels.
Yeah. You see now?
You right? How about now?
They did say that it was possible that the boy was injured while he was trying to escape. So some people thought this could have been a little bit of intimidation, like, you're hurt, but look I've got you right here. You can't do anything about anything.
Oh my gosh, these poor kids.
Yeah. Right?
Like mentally, physically, and emotionally just absolutely beat on.
Yeah.
And like there's no one to turn to. There is no help in sight.
No, because even the like highest authority, even the governor, like nobody's doing anything about it.
Can I ask, was there any sort of like documented suicides with these boys?
There was not documented, but there was
Okay.
kind of rumors that
There's that
they
there were a few
often
that did.
found, yes. But I
Okay.
will I will go over there's a number of documented deaths on the property,
Hmm.
but everything about this place is like super mysterious and super like there's not a lot of information and it
I
doesn't
was
really
gonna say,
add
is it
up.
vague?
It kind of, yeah, it's a little
Yeah.
bit,
Classic.
yeah, it's one of
Hey,
those
Lit, the documents went missing. We don't know where they
Yeah,
went.
right. Like they went
exactly.
missing
Yeah.
Mhm.
into a frickin' fireplace.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they disintegrated. Thanks.
Yeah. Hmm.
Okay, so this part is very interesting actually. In 1923, a California journalist named Leon Adams went undercover into Preston Castle to actually see the mistreatment firsthand. So he really wanted to do an investigation. He made a point,
Love it. I like him already.
Right?
yeah.
Yes. Come on, Leon. Go.
Right? Go, Leon.
So he really did make a point to provoke some kind of punishments onto himself. So he did as much as he could to stir the pot within the facility. So some of the stuff that he saw and reported was both sad and disturbing, to say the least. He noted that some of the guards didn't do anything if the boys were physically fighting, like fighting each other, fist fighting each
Mhm.
other, even though fighting was against the rules. He said only when he looked one of the guards in the eyes and silently dared him to do something was Leon himself sent to the office. He provoked more, and eventually he ended up with a 15-day sentence in solitary confinement. So he wanted to go deep undercover and deeply investigate like the worst punishments.
Good for him.
So he said that
Wow, that is so brave.
Right?
I know,
That is seriously brave.
and this was one of the things that I didn't include this, but I just remembered. He said that nobody outside of his like the journalists or like his company knew who he was. So everybody in the facility thought he was one of the juvenile offenders. So he had no way of getting out. He had no one to save him.
Like,
Like,
come and rescue him.
yeah, so
He's in it.
he was deep. Yeah, he was deep in there.
Oh man, that is just gnarly.
Yeah.
Because seriously, I mean, he's putting himself at risk of just even death.
Right?
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like you could be
Exactly.
going in and investigating this and you may never come out,
Come
dude.
out.
Like,
Exactly. So he went into the solitary confinement area and he said that he was given a slice of bread and a cup of watery milk every day. So that was all that he got. Which that's like the worst. It's like
I don't know why, but I'm like willing to bet like it's somehow like semi-curdled.
Yeah.
Like I can,
yeah.
yeah, you know what I mean? Like
It's starting to
It's
turn.
I've got the most
expired.
revolting image in my
Yeah.
head on that.
Yeah.
He also said that they made him stand the guard line for 10 hours a day. Now, the guard
Oof.
line is basically standing straight up facing a wall. So, for 10 hours a day, they made him do that, unmoving. You couldn't do anything, you couldn't say anything. If you fell, if you got tired, you were punished, basically.
You just
Oh
looked at the
my
wall.
gosh.
Yeah. He also said that the school would hold 50 boys at a time in the basement in the complete dark, and that there was also a flogging room. So a specific, yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, that one was a little.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ick. Ick.
So I couldn't find, I really did look. I couldn't find if he ended up publishing like in the newspaper or like making a public statement about
Mhm,
what was going on, but he wrote a book about his findings
mhm.
a couple years after. So that's basically where all of the information is from. I don't
That's so
know.
awesome though. He made it out.
Yeah.
He
And
did,
because
yeah.
of him, now we know. And
Yeah.
like, dude,
Information.
he's a hero in
Yeah.
his own right, you know?
Now we have like
100%.
firsthand,
Okay.
this is what happened. I saw it. This is what they did to me. Like it would,
Yep.
yeah.
That's awesome. Way to go, Leon. I love you.
Yeah.
And
There is also famously an ex-guard at Preston who was there in the 50s who said that the guards were stationed in the boys' dorms. They eventually had to get cages for the guards to be on watch during the night because it was so dangerous for them. He said that he never saw abuse towards the boys while he was working there, but he did hear about it. So I had to include that because there's always going to be a conflicting statement of
Hmm.
someone like well, they were nice to me. They never did anything to me.
I didn't see.
Yeah, exactly. Like I never had an issue, and it's like, or are you
Okay.
just keeping your mouth shut
Yeah,
for whatever
Yeah.
reason?
Because you're scared. And you're
Yep,
exactly.
because you're scared.
But it was interesting to see that even the guards had to protect themselves against the boys because it got to a point where they couldn't even enforce authority on the boys. They were like pushing back so much. But then you have to ask, why was that happening? Why were they not respecting the rules, the guards? Like, there's a reason for
Yeah,
that, right?
right,
because they're being
right,
tortured and abused and
Yeah,
right.
neglected.
yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah. Once you're pushed past the point.
Yeah, everybody has a breaking point.
Yes, exactly.
And no, honestly, like good for the boys for kind of standing up for themselves.
Yeah.
Like and trying to
Yeah, for
fight back
real.
Yes.
and try to
Because I'm really surprised that like some sort of like I don't know. Oh, hi, baby. Um, I'm kind of surprised, like if you ever watched Orange is the New Black,
Mhm.
and they wind up creating like that mass stampede and like,
Yes.
protest and they like, storm the house. I'm surprised these boys didn't like be like, whoa, let's not fight anymore, fellas. Let's take this shit over
Yeah.
and get out of here. Because they seriously, you could have.
yeah,
Yes.
Like,
power
I
numbers.
guarantee you there were more boys than there were staff.
Oh,
And they
yeah.
totally could have done that.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That's a good point. But and now I'm thinking of like what was stopping them from doing that? Or
Yeah, like
were they so scared that they're like,
right, like so completely
yeah,
brainwashed at this
yeah,
Yeah.
point that like they can't see the light anymore,
yeah,
which is
There's not
so
even
sad.
hope. Yeah.
yeah, it
Okay, no.
is. I wanted to add this little note that specifically the Preston Castle and that property was vacant in the 1960s. So the school closed and they relocated the like rehabilitation facility. And I thought it was like somewhere else in the world, but I read it was like next door, like the next door, like the lot over.
Like the building right next
Yeah, it
to
was
it.
like like the next plot of land.
They said this one's not working anymore.
Let's just
We'll
move
just
to
move
that.
next door.
Right.
Exactly.
It's a little bit
Let's just
bigger.
Right.
It has 15 acres instead of the 13.
Yeah.
Right. And somehow has a lower tax bracket.
Yeah.
Who knew?
There we go.
Win-win. We're making money.
Right.
But that building was obviously a newer building and it had less history than the Preston Castle, but there was still a lot going on at that time. And the conditions that the boys were living in, even in the new facility, were not what they should have been. They were not good.
Right on.
So a lot of the next part that I'm going to talk about, some of it is from the newer facility, but I did want to include it because it like attests to the mindset of the people running the place. So it wasn't just building specific, it was like these are the people who are running it. This is what they're doing. This is their system that they created. And it's not good. Not at all.
Of course not. Because we can't do better. We can only do worse.
Yeah,
We
we're
can
gonna
only do
only
worse.
make it worse.
And just in a different way.
yeah.
Right.
So I'm taking this straight from an article called Goodbye Preston by Selena Teji. And she said, national experts described Preston's lockup units as deplorable and dungeon-like. There were filthy rooms covered with vermin, blood, and feces where youth were confined for 23 hours a day, with 1 hour spent shackled in a cage for exercise. That doesn't sound like rehabilitation.
The fuck? Like,
How to exercise while shackled. Please
Shackled,
explain.
Uh-huh.
Please explain.
that is so
It's like
beyond anything of comprehension.
giving
Like,
me like death row. They are literally locked up for 23 hours of the day. But it's for juvenile offenders, which, like we talked about, they're not even that bad of crimes that they committed.
They're not
I'm
crimes. They're
right.
just
Like, there
homeless.
are far worse heinous things out
Yeah.
there to be committing than
They're
what these boys did. I guarantee it.
Yeah.
These poor boys were abandoned, and that was their crime. And they said, "You get the absolute worst."
The
treatment."
worst, yeah. Which
Ugh. Talk about the raw end of the stick. Holy crap.
Exactly. So one, I suppose, good-ish thing to come out of this was that in 2004, a nonprofit law firm called the Prison Law Office filed a suit against the Division of Juvenile Facilities condemning them for unconstitutional and egregious conditions in the facilities and demanding reform. The state
Hooray!
In 2004, this shit was happening in 1960.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Like the most
Guys.
recent documented was like, yeah, it's just
Now we're doing
thank
something.
you for that.
Right now we're doing something,
Yeah.
Let's let it ride for 40 years and
Oh,
So the state conceded and they signed a consent decree in 2004, laying out remedial plans for reform to its entire system. That is, in theory, really good, but the last statement of the article said it's a little too late.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
period. Most of those poor people that endured all this trauma have passed.
Yeah, so
We're
it's kind
okay.
of
Yeah.
And have long moved or have moved on and
Or-
what have
yeah.
you. Like,
Yeah.
Nope.
exactly. So the Preston School of Industry, in its new status in the new building, was running until June of 2011.
Wow. I
Yeah.
did not see that coming.
Very recently.
Yeah.
Wow. Holy cow, this really went on for a long time. And I mean,
Forever.
Hundreds of years.
that
So
and that's not
It
that long
opened
ago.
in 1894 and then
Yep.
officially closed in 2011. I like
Dang, that's almost
centuries.
200 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, like seriously.
It's really
That's
insane.
beyond. Wow.
So, yes, even after the lawsuit to get better staffing and improve caring conditions, the facility still continued and not much
Mhm.
changed. So it didn't really close until like years and years after the lawsuit and after their promise of reforming the system.
Right.
Oh.
Which is like yeah. There's just sometimes you can't teach an old dog new tricks.
Yeah.
And I'm willing, like
Yeah.
so yeah, that's just disappointing and heartbreaking. And seriously, like I'm such a softie and such an empathetic person
Yeah.
that like, oh, my heart goes out to all those boys. Like
Yeah.
seriously.
I think
Poor
this
things
is
for not knowing any better and for
yeah,
being so taken advantage of for
exactly.
everything.
Yeah.
For everything. And you didn't do anything wrong. Like you
Yeah.
didn't do anything wrong. You're just a
You're
kid.
just baby.
They have no
Yeah.
idea.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. From 1960 to 2011, the things that were happening were not at the actual Preston Castle, but I did think it was important to know that the living conditions of the wards and how bad it was, even in the early 2000s, was still happening, and it really should not have been because they had the ability to make it better.
Crazy.
Yeah, it wasn't,
So crazy.
They just chose not to. They chose to stick with their crazy, terrible ways.
Yeah. So this next part I titled Mysteries and Death.
Ooh. Okay.
So
I love a good mystery.
Right? Put our detective caps on.
So I don't know how to explain it as seriously, but this place is so mysterious. It's really one of the only places where we have information, but even the information we're given is like not really true, and then there's other information to disprove it, and then other information that's like, well, actually, there's double information of things. There's like,
ooh, this is gonna be juicy.
it is. It really is. There's really no easy way to segue this, but
Hop right into
let's jump into it.
Right?
There was a lot of unexplained disappearances and deaths at Preston Castle while it was operating. Up to 26 reported, to be specific, and that's just what was reported and documented. 26.
Way more than that, I guarantee it.
I'm
There's way
not
more than
surprised.
that.
I would have expected a higher number.
Oh, for sure.
Yes. And I'm willing to bet it's more like hundreds.
Mhm.
Like high
Oh,
hundreds.
high number. Yeah.
That's my guess.
I agree. Now, I'm gonna backtrack a little bit here, but remember when I said that the ages of the boys at the school are a little bit unclear, and they could have been much younger kids than they were claiming were in the school? This, I'm gonna give a trigger warning because actually it's, like, terrible. There is a report of the youngest to be buried on the property, which was an 8-year-old boy.
Oh, baby.
And in what world an 8-year-old boy would need to be in a facility like this? Especially
Yes.
among almost 24-year-old men,
Yeah.
is like beyond me. I have like, there's no reason for that at all. And that one was like I really contemplated even adding that one because I was like, I just can't. That's so horrible.
It is. It so is. I'm like literally internally right now visualizing like hugging his ghost.
Yeah.
Like, like I am so
I
sorry, puppy.
know.
You deserve so much better.
Yeah,
And this was
Right.
the shit you were dealt. I'm so
I know.
sorry.
I think that's one of the
Right.
reasons why I became a little bit like obsessed with this because I'm like they're just kids. Like
Yeah.
they just needed help. Like I wish that I could help them.
Help them.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh,
They needed care and kindness,
yeah,
not abuse and neglect.
exactly.
Right. And some good food. Like
Yeah.
shit. Give them
Yes.
some macaroni and cheese or
Oh my
something. Like throw
God,
them a
Yeah.
free hearty
bone.
stew? Come on.
Right.
Come on.
They're getting watery milk.
Oh.
Sour milk, Sarah.
Yes.
So a lot of the wards mysteriously died on the property, as many
Mm.
believe at the hands of the staff. But there were also a number of staff members that had similarly odd passing. So it wasn't just the
Hey, you
ward.
know what? I'm not upset about the staff. I'm just gonna be honest. Not a like good.
Yin and yang,
Yeah.
balance.
Yo.
This is a balance.
These ones are what was reported and recorded, like documented history.
hmm
So to start, I have to tell you that there is a cemetery on the property, and there are 23 headstones there, but there is an official count and record of 30 deaths on the property, both natural and unnatural, is what they claim. So there's that.
Mm.
So 23 and 30 is not adding up.
Yeah.
There's 7.
Yeah, not
There's
quite adding up.
Immediately, it's not adding up. Out there, okay. So it is true that a lot of the boys sadly passed due to natural causes. Although again, I'm going to use the
Are
word
those natural causes starvation?
yeah. So I'm using the word
Mal-
natural like
Yeah.
malnutrition,
loosely.
Malnutrition? Yeah.
Yeah.
sickness, illness, pneumonia.
Yeah,
Maybe.
right.
And
Crazy.
yeah, because
Things that were totally inflicted.
yeah.
Mhm.
Because the conditions of the facilities were so horrible, obviously it wasn't clean. It was
Mhm.
not a healthy environment to be in. So it was natural, I guess,
Right.
in the sense
Mhm.
that it wasn't like physically caused by another person, but
Mhm.
it could have been prevented.
Yes.
Nonetheless, the majority of the recorded deaths were for meningitis and tuberculosis. I did want to note
Dang.
that the
Mm.
only reason we even have this information is because it's written on the headstones in the cemetery. I did say documented, but for some of them, it wasn't really that they had documents, it's just that there's physical proof of
Proof. Yeah.
this is what their cause of death was.
Or that's what they said it was.
Right. That
Yeah.
was my thought too, Mac. I was like, are they just saying that so they look good?
Right.
You know, like I have zero trust in this
Yeah.
establishment. So
The blood, the feces on
Oh,
the
no.
wall. I'm like, I don't think it was
yeah.
tuberculosis, guys.
This-
I think it was the
Yeah,
neglect and the
right?
abuse. Jesus. Oh my gosh.
I also wrote because there's a surprisingly sparse amount of records for this place. What a surprise!
Mhm.
They have like 2 documents for the like 200
Right.
years that they've been in the works.
They just never got around to writing it down. They
No.
got
Yeah,
They got
that's just
busy.
too much paperwork.
No, yeah.
Nobody has time
No,
for
no,
that.
no.
No,
We're
no.
busy. We have things to do. So there are 18 illness-related deaths at the Preston Cemetery. This is again based on the headstones that are there. Also to note that there were a number of other illness-related deaths, but they're not clearly or completely recorded. But researchers think that this is because the families came to get the boys after their passing and to give them a personal burial. So I guess that explains the like weirdness in the numbers. So the documents don't match
The
the headstones, which is that's also kind of an interesting weird thing in general.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is a really weird thing that adds to the mystery of this place, and it's just really crazy. One of the wards, his name was Joseph Howe. He died allegedly of tuberculosis, but he was kind of undocumented, as in there wasn't any record of his name being enrolled into the school. So they had record of his death, but no record of his enrollment in the school, which is very
Okay.
strange. However, this researcher who I got a lot of my information from, thank you to Jamie Rubio, she said that she found the records of the other boys who were brought in at the same time that Joseph Howe was brought in, and they found a ward card, which is like kind of their like enrollment card where it has their information on it, with the name Joseph Herve. So they registered him under the wrong name, apparently.
Interesting.
But for a long time, it was like this grand mystery of like, who is this boy who he's at the school, he died at the school, but there's no record of him entering the school and being there.
Persons.
So that was like
interesting. Okay.
one of the big super weird mysteries.
And the mystery was solved because they did improper paperwork.
Yes.
Mhm.
So I'm shocked
Yeah.
that there's no other paperwork, and
Right.
I don't know if I trust the paperwork that we
Yeah.
have either.
Yeah,
no
that goes
kidding,
to show
right?
like how many other things did they like mistakenly write down or
Yeah.
misprint or something.
Neglect. It was
Yeah.
tuberculosis.
Mhm.
Cause of death, tuberculosis.
Mhm. The others that I will be talking about are the unnatural passings on the property. So I'm going through a couple of these, but there's a lot. Starting with Samuel Goines. He was a convicted burglar, and he was shot and killed by a guard in 1918 while attempting to escape the castle. He's buried at the castle cemetery. So there's a lot of these. I'm just gonna spoil a little bit, but a lot of these have to do with boys trying to escape and guards kind of accidentally causing something to happen to them.
Uh-huh. Mhm.
Yeah.
Yep.
Then we have Grant Walker. This is another weird one. So he was originally thought to have died because of typhoid fever, but there are records of 2 deaths in the year of 1896. One of them documented and confirmed to be another boy, Adolf Antron, who died of a pulmonary edema, and then another who was unnamed, who died of accidental burns and intestinal ulcerations. So this
Bullshit.
unnamed,
No.
yeah.
No.
Uh-huh.
Not with that
No.
plunge pool. Sorry.
Yeah,
No.
right?
Yes. So they said it was as if he ingested something toxic that burned his inside.
Oh, you mean like a hot poker being shoved down his throat, probably? Like,
Yeah, interesting. Yeah.
Crazy.
not to be like super morbid, but
But
I'm just putting this together, and my imagination is really strong on that.
Yeah.
so what was particularly weird about this is that Grant was the only other recorded death that year. So they had Grant, who allegedly died of tuberculosis, that other guy, and then this mysterious unnamed boy.
Mm-hmm.
So people are kind of speculating, did somebody change his actual cause of death? So not writing his name down when it was the like this weird incident of ingesting something and burning his insides, and just changing it to no, it's okay, he died of TB. It wasn't anything
Suspicious.
crazy or suspicious.
It wasn't neglect.
So it's basically unknown exactly how he died, but maybe they were trying to cover it up.
Yeah, I think that's pretty plausible.
I would think so.
Yeah, I think all of the administrative and like higher ups are a little fucked up in the head, and they're just doing a lot of
we got a few screw looses here in the staff directory.
Yeah.
And they're just doing a lot of screwed up shit.
Yeah.
They want to.
Because they feel like it.
And they have victims, pure vulnerable victims, right at their palm of their hand.
It's just like crazy because all of the stuff that it's like the mysterious things that don't add up, and obviously them changing documents and not recording things properly. Like, how can you trust any of the information that they have, that they've collected themselves?
I believe Leon.
Yeah, I believe the
who
journalist
went through everything
the most because he witnessed things firsthand, but I don't believe anything the staff says. I really don't.
Yeah, definitely not. Definitely not.
So a number of the boys, like I said before, were killed while trying to escape the school. Though in the reports, the guards often claimed that they meant to fire a warning shot and accidentally hit them. Yeah.
just so hard when they're running and they're moving. It's just
Yeah,
not like target practice where it's just a simple thing on the board.
Right.
Moving target. So in 1919, there was one boy who actually did escape. and he made it to Thornton Ranch, which was almost 20 miles from the Preston Castle. So he like fully escaped. He got away from that place.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, way to go, dude.
Right?
However, one of the
Oh, here we
guards
go.
had went after him, and while the boy was trying to hop a fence, the guard allegedly was trying to shoot him in the leg, but hit him in the back instead. And they said that he survived up until being brought back to Preston, and apparently he himself admitted that it was his own fault for the incident, so that the guard was basically absolved and never punished when the boy eventually passed away.
Oh, that poor soul is haunted.
Yeah.
That's a haunted soul.
Mhm.
Like,
That one is
because
like,
I guarantee you that is not the truth.
No, not
Like,
at
that
all.
no.
cannot possibly be the truth. And oh, that poor soul has got some serious unfinished business.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I just can't believe that, like, he killed somebody. It's obvious, like, and it's documented, even they documented it, but because the
Yep.
boy was like, nope, it was my fault. Nothing
Oh, and
happened to the
that's
guard.
such a brainwash. He was
Yeah.
totally like, yep. And in those days too, depending on any sort of religious beliefs or anything like that, like
Mm-hmm.
the threat of not going to heaven, the
Yeah,
threat of
Twist,
not
yeah.
being absolved, or,
exactly.
anything like that can really wreak havoc on the psyche, especially for a kid.
Yes.
Like,
Mm-hmm.
that is just, oh, that is so mortifying.
Yeah.
Like, seriously.
And this one again, they didn't have the age of this boy, but you can
Mhm.
only imagine they were boys. Again, they were just boys. So
Yeah.
it's just, yeah, all of it is really horrible, but that one especially, he
Yeah.
there was no justice basically for
No, you
him
got
at
away with
all.
it.
Yeah.
Right.
Now, sadly, a lot of the boys were also found to have died by suicide.
Okay.
There wasn't any documented. It just kind of said, yeah, a lot of them, that's what happened, that they would find some of the boys. But they
Hmm.
didn't have names. I didn't find names or anything like that.
Yeah.
But some of the other weird and mysterious deaths that happened at the castle, one boy unfortunately drowned while he was swimming in a pond on the property. The only reason that this one was reported was because it was witnessed by two other boys who were with him. So
Okay.
otherwise, I doubt that it would have ever
Made
came
it.
to light. Yeah, basically. That one, it didn't have a lot of information, but it was three boys who were swimming in the pond,
Mm-hmm.
and one of the boys, they said they witnessed him go under the water and then
Never come up.
never come up. But there was no struggle or anything. I think that one
Mhm.
really was just a freak accident that happened. But
Yeah. That one I'm with you. I believe that. I'm like,
yes.
because there are two other boys there giving
Yeah.
some sort of a testimony on that. I'm like,
Yeah.
that's probably what happened.
Yeah. But I do wonder if they would have ever,
They would have tried to cover it up.
yeah, if they ever would have
Yeah.
even said that that happened if there were not other people there.
Hmm.
In 1924, one of the boys, Leland Price, got into a fight with another one of the wards. The fight was broken up, and as a punishment, both of them, were locked in the basement. Now, nobody really knows what happened, but it's presumed that the fight started again, and Leland was found in the morning with a head wound from hitting his head on the concrete, and he died the next morning. So that's
Oh.
another, like, obviously testament to the treatment that they were locking the boys away, kind of like,
Hmm.
here you go.
Hmm.
Obviously, people think that the other boy killed him, wasn't
Hmm.
just an accident, but there's not a lot of information on that either. There was one boy who was kicked to death by a horse at the Preston stables while cleaning. So again, that's another freak accident.
I would like
That
to
I'm willing to believe too.
Yeah.
start
Like,
pointing out that some of these freak accidents are just like the bad energy that are surrounding
Yeah,
these
it's like a
people
little
with all this
bad
drama
luck. Yeah,
and abuse and all of this, like
I would agree with that.
you're drawing negative energy and negative spirits into this.
It seems a little like weird bad luck
Yeah.
deaths that are going on. I agree. William Reppert and Henry Herstein, they both died December 4th in 1928. These two were digging a sewer trench for the school because they would make the boys do all of the physical labor and work around the school, for the school, everything. When sadly the ground caved in and buried them alive. I did read there was a couple other boys who were also buried in the dirt, but they got out. It was these two boys were the only ones who sadly passed. But that's another one of like how did that happen? How did they let them do that and like put themselves in a position that could happen? It's just a lot of these like weird things that were going on the property. Now those were just the wards, by the way. That was a lot, but it was just the boys. But it wasn't just the youths at Preston that faced untimely deaths. The staff were also at risk. One of the most well-known documented murders at this place was that of housekeeper Anna Corbin in 1950. So this one was recent in the terms of it was within the last century. And like a good 100 years almost after the school opened. So within the timeline, just to paint a little picture. So Anna Corbin was found in the basement storeroom in a half-sitting position in the corner. Rugs had been placed over her in an attempt to hide her body. They found that she had been choked and bludgeoned to death. Her cause of death was from skull fractures due to her head hitting the concrete floor. I'm adding a little note in here that there was a trial for her murder, and allegedly, according to one of the boys, Anna Corbin had accidentally walked in on two of the wards engaging in something sexual. They didn't say more information.
Okay. Which is probably why she died. But what I'm really floored at, I am shocked that there's even a woman in this facility.
Yeah, right?
Like, that's the first I'm hearing of a woman.
Yes.
And I'm like, girl, what are you doing? Get out of there. And take some boys with you.
So the boy who testified that was what happened, so they didn't say what it was, but they apparently used the words sexual perversion, but like what does that really mean at that time, right?
Yeah.
It could have been anything, but he basically said that the other boy believed that they were caught by her, so he was like, I think that's why she was killed.
I think so too. Just based upon what you're saying, like that makes the most sense. They probably got scared.
Yes.
And like, worried that she was going to tell somebody of a bigger authority and then it was going to come down on them and then they're going to be in,
even more trouble.
So I think that, I have a feeling to me, that just makes the most sense of how that went down.
So the downside of that trial was that nothing really came out of it. So they didn't really persecute anybody because there was no proof. They had a body, but they didn't really have evidence.
Yeah, they didn't.
It was based on one boy's testimony, which they couldn't really take as like gospel. Like no one really knew what happened.
But why? But the thing is it's like, well, why would he lie?
Right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Why would he lie about that?
What is his benefit? What is he getting out of it?
I believe him. Like, wherever you are, dude, I believe you.
Yeah. We believe you. I think it was also what rubs me the wrong way is somebody very blatantly killed her, but they also made an effort to hide her body and like cover it up. And it was in an old storage room that they weren't using anymore. So they really thought like, oh, nobody's going to find her. So that is also like a little more planning, a little more, it's a little darker than just the murder.
Yeah.
Then we have in 1965, James Whedon, it's a German name, I don't know. Whedon. The agricultural teacher for the school was attacked on the Preston property by two wards. Although some claim that he passed on the property, he was actually taken to a hospital where he soon succumbed to his injuries. But he was just a teacher and he got attacked. Again, I'll say like what pushed them to that point.
Right.
To do that. I'm not necessarily saying he did something or that
he's a little angel,
a
just
bad
like
person, but
he's an angel amongst them all.
Oh, right.
Yeah, no, I'm not buying that.
No. Not at all.
Okay, so there were also actually two recorded deaths on the property that fall into the other category, so not really natural or unnatural, or it's just they're just kind of there.
It's ambiguous.
Because they were not a member of staff and they were not wards. So this is also just
so they're just random people on the property. Okay.
It's just
like we're just like, hey, you know what? Let's go hang out at Preston Castle today and just see what happens.
Want to grab a coffee at Preston?
Right?
Yeah, let's go.
Right? I'll bring snacks.
Yeah, thank you.
I'll bring this now. So this one happened in 1902. So it was
Okay.
closer to the
Start.
beginning
To the
operating.
opening and the
Yeah.
Yes.
beginning.
A man named Fred Downs went hunting with his friends around the reservoir that I assume is also on the huge property. It's 13 acres of land, so it is a big property, but
Mhm.
it also it's just weird. It's just a strange.
It's
Very weird.
Why would you do that? Why would you go there?
Yeah, like why?
It's
What
been
would ever provoke that?
Yeah,
right?
for
Like it's
what
been open for
reason?
at least 8 years now. Like it's
Mhm.
been there
Yeah,
running.
they know what's there. What man? I don't know. So the story is that Fred Downs shot a dove. And now I don't know how hunting works, but I don't know why you would shoot a dove. What are you getting from that? I don't know, but they were hunting, whatever. That's a story. And apparently the bird fell into the reservoir, but he still really wanted it. So allegedly he went into the water to get it, and then he suddenly just went under. His friends who were there, he was with two other people.
Sorry. Highly inappropriate.
His friends said that he didn't struggle or anything, and allegedly none of them could swim, so they didn't go after him.
You're on your own, buddy.
Well, I'm not upset with them. So,
This
yeah,
is
don't
just,
risk your life
Yeah.
being a piece
yes,
of shit.
but this is also like the way that I was kind of taking it was did he really just drown or did
Did he
his
maybe get pushed?
yeah. Did he jump or was he pushed? That kind of a. And it was just his friends who were the witnesses. But also because that story is like eerily similar to the one of the boy who drowned with the two other
Yes.
people. And they also said he just went under. So there's something going on in the water on the property.
Yeah, I feel like there's a little thickness to the plot there that we don't know.
Yeah, exactly. Now this last one is a little bit interesting. In 1932, there was an explosion in the Kennedy mines in Jackson, California, and two of the men who were in the explosion were taken to Preston to the hospital/infirmary. I dug really hard to find why they would do that. Why would they bring them to this reform school to treat them? And I really couldn't find anything in any articles and anything that I was reading. They were at Preston Hospital for some reason.
That's peculiar.
Which is, yeah.
That's seriously, that's a very scary thing. Like, what in the world would make you think that that's your best option?
Right.
Also, it wouldn't have been the closest hospital, right? Like, I assume there was one
That was going to be my question. Like, where was the
in
nearest
Jackson,
hospital?
California, unless it was severely overrun, but I just don't understand.
Googling.
Like there has to be other better fitting places to bring them than to this reform school infirmary, basically.
Yeah, that would be something I would. And then not having any sort of documentation on that, not having anything on that, that's very alarming to me.
Yeah.
Like that's like red flags all over the place, and I don't even know what they exactly mean. I just know it's not good.
It's just not good.
It's just not good.
Exactly. So they did say that there was one man who was very, very badly injured, and he ended up passing away at Preston. But again, why was he there? We don't know. And now he's in the mix of all of the other souls and spirits that are there too, kind of just by chance that happened. Now, I could genuinely talk about this stuff for hours because there's so much history and mystery to this place, and it's just so fascinating. But I would love for us to dive into some of the spooky ghost stories at this place now.
All right, cool. I'm here for it. It's always like my favorite part.
Right. I always save it for the end because we like to build suspense here. And also it gives Mackenzie a little time to adjust.
We can't just jump right into the spooky. I will have nightmares. Ease into this for me.
Needs to ease into the spooky.
Yeah. You gotta get me hooked with the mysteries and all of the murder. Now I'm like, okay,
now I can do it.
Now I can handle some ghost stories.
Right.
In general, people who visit the Preston Castle today have experienced a lot of apparitions. Guests and investigators have claimed to see shadowy figures, like full-on apparitions as well. A lot of people claim to hear noises while visiting Preston Castle. So things
I
like
was going to say the noises would be probably like the number
the
one thing.
most, yeah,
I would feel like that would, because
yeah.
I'm imagining they probably hear a lot of phantom screaming. I'm probably guessing they probably hear a lot of like phantom crying.
Mm.
Like I'm pretty sure that the air in that place is very
Oh,
heavy.
yeah.
Yeah, I can imagine hearing the way like you're talking about it. I can also imagine hearing like the shackles, like hearing the
Yeah.
shackles
Things like
against the
this,
like
yeah.
concrete and everything.
Hmm.
So
Oh.
you're like correct. They hear phantom screams a lot. Also hearing doors slamming on their own.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and footsteps, disembodied voices as well. I feel like a lot of that stuff, we talk about it sometimes when it's residual energy
Hmm.
because it was in operation for nearly 200 years. So there's a lot of
Hmm.
energy stuck in that place. So going through the
Hmm.
motion of like daily routines and like the mundane things that people would do while they were alive, it's just kind of continuing on, like footsteps and things like that.
Hmm.
But the phantom screams, I don't know how, like that's
What was it really like when it was operating? If the screams are still being like
if they're still there.
they're still going
Right.
on.
Yeah.
What was it
Yeah.
like back in the day?
Brutal.
Echoing through the ether. That's crazy.
Oof. Woof.
People also experience cold spots. So, sudden drops in temperature have been documented in the kitchen and the basement specifically.
That doesn't surprise me, just
Yeah.
based upon like it seems like some of the most morbid stories of this facility were going on downstairs, and
Yeah.
that's just Mm.
And it's kind of maybe cliche, I guess, that all the dark stuff is happening in the basement because it's underground, it's a
It's
little bit
always the
hidden,
basement or the attic.
it's dark.
It's like
Yeah,
never on main floors. You know what I mean? It's
exactly.
never common rooms.
No.
It's always the basement, the attic, or something
Yes.
like secret
Hidden
Yes.
that
away,
is,
yeah.
Hidden, yeah.
yeah.
Equipment interference is also another big thing that investigators going there experience.
Yeah.
A lot of ghost hunters frequently report drained batteries and malfunctioning electronics. And a lot of visitors said that many of the photos that they took while visiting were corrupted, especially the ones in areas in the building that made them feel uneasy. So where they felt heavy energy,
Hmm.
for some reason, all of their pictures were like completely corrupted, blacked out, or not there, like not registering.
Yeah, like there's no exposure.
Yes, basically, yeah.
Hmm.
Another one that you're gonna hate is physical contact. So people have actually reported being touched, or pushed as well.
Okay.
And the pushing one leads me to think that the spirits there they've got a lot of energy,
Hmm.
and whether that is from all of the trauma of the past or
Hmm.
so many people going and visiting and kind of feeding into the energy, but they have enough to be able to make physical contact.
A force.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think if there is a spirit that has an immense tragedy, an immense trauma, I think their energy is such that it's built to such a tight capacity
Mhm.
that they can cross that veil between
Yeah.
us to touch us.
Yeah.
I definitely think that.
Mhm.
Definitely.
I agree.
I believe it.
Oh, yeah. It's just a lot.
This place, oh my goodness.
I know. Now, a lot of people have investigated here. Like Ghost Adventures have an episode. Obviously, they're everywhere. Ghost
They
Hunters
are everywhere.
and a lot of YouTubers, which, by the way, that's how I found out about this place. There's a guy named Garrett Watts on YouTube, and he does like little ghost investigations, but he's really funny, but he's also really good because he makes very lengthy videos going through the
Mhm.
history and talking to like the caretakers of the place and people who have been there before and then going in and showing
Experiencing.
everything. Yes. And I also appreciate YouTuber investigators a little bit more because they're a little more
I was so gonna say that.
candid.
Like,
Yeah.
like, don't get me wrong. Like, I do appreciate like ghost hunters and ghost adventures and
Yeah.
all of that. Like, all of those. Like, yes, I do appreciate it to a certain extent.
They're
But you are
classics.
more, yeah. Like, it's more for the entertainment entertainment
Yes.
value
Yeah,
than it
exactly.
is for the actual history and the actual respect of the place.
Yeah.
And love him or hate him, I'm just going to speak my piece. I cannot stand Zach. I think he's annoying. But
Yeah.
now other people like, you've got Aaron Goodwill and you've
Yes.
got, Amy Bruni. Now, those people I truly respect and I appreciate because I think they have just a little bit more skin in the game than
Mhm.
just the fame and the recognition.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I agree.
So where I think, Zach disappoints me in a lot of ways. If I can just be so bold, I'm like, dude, you are such a wuss. Like,
He's
and you don't do anything yourself. You're super lazy investigator.
yeah.
Like,
He's
I don't
also a
know. I just
very
don't have a whole lot of respect, and I don't know how
yeah.
much I really believe you.
Yeah.
Where I believe more of Aaron's experiences or Amy's experiences than anybody else's, you
Yeah.
know?
That's so true. I think he's a very good actor. And
Hmm.
he's very good at playing things up,
Mhm.
Yes.
which
Yep. He can embellish very well.
yes,
Ah.
exactly. But that's also why I like YouTubers because it depends on who you're watching, obviously, but
Hmm.
they're also approaching things from, like you said, like a lot more of a respectful place and really
Hmm.
going into the history of where they're investigating and the people involved. Whereas
Hmm.
a lot of the TV shows they're playing on your emotions and like trying to make you scared and trying to make you like, oh my God, this is like shocking
Right.
and
Crazy.
To get
incredible
the
and
All this
reaction
stuff is
and all of that.
happening.
yeah,
Whereas, like a YouTuber, if I watch a YouTuber doing an investigation, I'm more genuinely terrified by that than I
Yeah.
am by an NBC production,
yeah, that's exactly
That
right.
has a lot more money and cameras and
Yeah.
Hmm.
hmm
So that YouTuber Garrett Watts, I found his video about this place and I was like, this is crazy. He had a couple experiences there too. I also was like obviously taken with how beautiful the building is and how old it is.
Hmm.
So I was like, hey, I'm putting this right on the list.
going into the
Hmm.
spreadsheet.
Now, from his video, there's one photo that I have to show both of you that is, in my opinion, like the most clear, potentially apparition ghost photo. It's not as crazy as I'm working it up to be,
Hmm.
but it's like a very clear image, and I couldn't find it online. I like took a little screenshot from his video because he posted it, but it's like a very, very, very crazy picture. And okay, this is like I wish I could share it in a better way, but you can see it. I'm gonna see if you can if you can see this at all.
Yeah, like legs in the air.
Yeah.
And is that like, okay, because now I'm also looking at the shadow on the wall.
Mhm.
And I'm also looking behind the people, and it looks like I don't know if that's like a mirror behind them or what that is, but is the apparition supposed to be the feet?
It is supposed to be the feet. So the way that they were describing it was the way that the like you can really see it like the jeans and the way that the jeans
Yeah.
are rolled up,
Yeah.
even like the shoes.
Yep.
They were describing this as like at the time of like the early 1900s.
Hmm.
This is like a little history lesson
Is
about
it like Tom
jeans.
Sawyer?
But like no,
I just see Tom Sawyer.
it's Tom Sawyer himself.
So
But at that time, jeans were only worn by like heavy labor workers. They were not like everybody's wearing jeans at that point in history. So it would
Hmm.
make sense that the boys were wearing them because they were doing a lot of
the work.
labor intensive. And one of the styles was rolling up the cuffs of your jeans. And
Hmm.
then another thing that people noted was it's really hard to see in the picture, but
The boy's looking at it.
they have a little U
Oh.
on the sole of the shoe.
Yeah.
And they said at that time, because the boys would often make their own shoes, this was kind of like a symbol to let them know that, like, yeah, this is my shoe.
Their trademark.
So they're like, this makes so much sense in historic context that this could actually be a boy
Hmm.
who was there at one point. And then in the video, Garrett was talking about the way that the feet are. It really looks like somebody is diving, like
Hmm.
diving through a window,
Yeah, like trying
diving.
to jump. It made me think someone's jumping out a window.
Right.
Yes.
Like, yeah.
They also brought up a good point of perhaps jumping into the plunge pool if that was
Oh,
something they
sure.
were forced to do.
Getting
Hmm.
pushed, falling.
So that was kind of an interesting image
Yeah,
that
that
I
is
wanted to include.
definitely. No, yep, that is definitely that is like a post-worthy debate right
Yeah.
there.
So we have our favorite little segment. It's our last segment of the episode. It's our Reddit reads segment.
Awesome.
So I'm always on Reddit. I love
Reddit,
looking,
man, they've got some good twisted
they
stories.
Right?
really
Like they
do.
really do.
Reddit is amazing for stories, firsthand encounters. Even if you have a problem, I'm always Googling something and putting Reddit at the end because somebody has had the experience that you've had, like no matter what it is, 100%.
I love
So
it.
I love Reddit. I love this like saying that people say on social media, if I want to be misinformed, I want to be misinformed by the people.
Yes.
So this is where I get my information.
Oh, I love it.
But we have two stories from two different Redditors, and these were people who visited Preston Castle and their firsthand encounters. So do you want to do our little Reddit reads? Or we have a little song that we sing.
I love it.
Reddit reads.
No, this is one. Who's gonna do Reddit reads?
Okay.
Reddit
Reddit
reads.
Reading stories from
Reddit.
Reddit.
Reddit reads. Okay.
We didn't say it was good, we just said it was a song.
It's a song.
Right? Take a look. It's in Reddit.
Okay. So we take them directly, quote unquote, from Reddit. So this is our Redditor speaking, but in my voice. This one from a visitor who did a tour at the castle and went to the basement where they felt particularly uneasy. As we were looking upon the emptied chemical pool, I walked away from my group for a moment to scan the room with the EMF. I was close to the corner of the room when the EMF spiked to 15, and I suddenly felt a hand tightly grip my thigh. I whipped around, expecting to see somebody from my group standing behind me. Perhaps they were trying to prank me, and we would laugh about it afterwards. But when I turned around, no one was there. My aunt called from across the room, asking me what was wrong. I glanced down at my leg and saw a small white handprint on my thigh where I was grabbed. I explained to my group what happened, but no one seemed to believe me until we were walking to the next room when my aunt suddenly jumped and spun around to look at us. She asked which one of us touched her neck, but none of us had. Guys, the chemical pool.
Yeah, by the chemical
Right?
pool.
The
I
plunge.
don't like it.
I don't like it either. And in the basement.
In basement?
Of course.
Yeah. Because the plunge bath is there.
Something's going on in that basement. I don't
For
know.
sure. Like 100%
Yeah.
yes.
So our next story goes like this. We got there around 9 a.m. and had free reign over the place, Preston Castle. It wasn't a tour or anything, but full use to our leisure, except for certain rooms on certain floors we had to stay out of because the floors had collapsed or the wood was rotten. We'd set up everything in the basement area, and that was our main meeting location and station. We did some filming and some pictures, and there were times that they'd ask me to go back down to the second floor to get some equipment and bring it to the new filming location. I had a buddy system where I would drag someone with me anytime I had to go because I didn't want to go alone, especially
Yeah, no, I wouldn't
sundown.
either.
Buddy
Definitely not.
systems are very important when visiting
They
haunted
are.
places.
Yes.
This is true. Once it was dark out, the inside of the castle was pitch black, where we'd need flashlights or the lights from our phones, and we'd even have bats swooping down at us from the hallways. That's also a creepy part. Bats. There's lots of bats there.
Oh.
You know, and that's so funny because you don't think about that kind of stuff either. Like
Yeah.
when you think about these places, like you're not thinking about what's actually like starting to migrate
Yeah,
there.
and move in.
Like
Yeah. What other like little creatures are
Scurrying around.
inhabiting the place?
raccoons, rats, like
Oh,
all of
yeah.
that stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All the bugs. Oh.
Yes.
Eventually, though, something happened to me. I felt a darkness over me. I remember feeling angry and I didn't know why. It was like when you're drunk and your brain can be clear, telling you to just get up the stairs and walk normally, but your body can't react properly or you keep falling. I remember thinking to myself, why am I not scared and why do I feel this rage inside of me? I stopped doing the buddy system when fetching gear and started walking down the halls, up and down the stairs in the pitch black. I didn't even use flashlights. I recall in my mind wondering why I'm walking in the dark, alone, and feeling like I knew the place so well without being able to see.
No.
That sounds like an invocation.
Yeah. No.
Like, that is creepy. That is an invoked spirit.
Uh-huh.
Somebody didn't remember their black obsidian and salt.
No, gotta protect yourself.
You do.
I can look back more than 10 years later and still remember the feeling like my body was completely taken over. Later that evening, when our okay, I think they were doing some sort of a set or movie. They said later that evening when our werewolf actor Cody was getting makeup done, we saw 3 scratches appear on the side of his neck just out of nowhere, and he started to complain about how it burned. That night, I had the most terrifying experience ever. I go to sleep and I wake up in absolute terror, unable to move, and there was the most vicious, horrific old hag mounted on top of me. She was going insane with her head shaking violently and attacking me, grabbing and clawing at me. I tried to scream or do anything I could to wake up my wife, but I was at the mercy of what was happening. There was no way out. The attack continued for a while, and I can't ever unsee that ghastly face, where even typing this gives me chills and takes me back. Finally, it passed. I somehow fell asleep and woke in the morning. My chest and heart hurt badly. Deep breaths hurt, and the chest was just sore. I call into work, go into the bathroom, and examine my chest and see redness and scratch marks all over it. Could it have been me doing that to myself in my sleep? Maybe, or maybe something did actually happen. I continued to feel this darkness, a cloud over me, for the following week or two. Then I contacted my friend Nicole, a makeup artist, and explained everything, and she suggested that I see a shaman for cleansing, which I had every intention of doing, but then it all just went away, and that was it.
Well, thanks for that
Wow.
cliffhanger, my friend.
I know.
Like, how you doing now? Can you give us an update?
I think that
My
he had
thought
like
is
a
he had a dream of a woman doing this, which makes me think of the girl who got murdered in the basement.
yeah.
Like, was it her
That's a
that
good
came to him
point.
in a dream? Like,
Mhm.
maybe not necessarily wanting to be malevolent, but trying to like show him what had happened and
Yeah.
her trying to fight.
Yeah.
Like,
And
you
everything
know what I
she
mean? I
saw.
don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's an
Yeah.
interesting.
So that is just a really gnarly story. I'm
Yes.
glad he's okay. Like, I
Yes.
am glad he is okay, but oh my gosh, that is absolutely terrifying.
And he said it went away on its own eventually, which is
Good.
also kind of interesting,
Good.
but something was like for sure attached to him and taking over his body
Hmm.
while he was at the location, which
Yeah.
was I've never really heard like this in-depth detail of like
Experience.
this is what I was feeling and like knowing my way around the place even though I've never been there and like in the
That
pitch
is
black.
and not to point a finger at him or give him any sort of blame or anything like that, but sir, you left yourself way too open and
Open.
vulnerable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like if like I wonder if that was maybe like one of his first I don't know if he was necessarily investigating it because it
Yeah.
sounds like it was a movie thing
Yeah, it was
and he
something.
might have been none the wiser.
Right?
You
Like
know what I
totally
mean?
Yeah.
unaware.
And
Yeah, just
yeah,
really did not understand or know.
I also think it's interesting that like him, I'm assuming him being a man who mentioned his wife, like going through that place where it was like mostly men and young boys being like abused and
yeah,
like going through
Hmm.
like what spirit he was already like open to and like
yeah,
unaware of
Hmm.
going into that present.
Yeah,
yeah.
for sure.
I wonder if too, like he didn't really give that much info about his beliefs or anything like that, but I wonder if he, yeah, either didn't know the lore of the location or he didn't believe it
Mm-hmm.
and then was
Sure.
kind of could have been a little provoky, could have been a little, well, I don't care, it's not real.
I'm okay.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Maybe.
And the ones who like go in blindly like that, just
Uh-uh.
because you
Yeah.
don't believe it doesn't mean it's not real.
Oh,
Yes.
and it's not going to
Like,
show you that it's real
Yeah.
either.
real.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is so true. Well, that was our last story. If you have any of your own spooky stories or paranormal happenings or witchy experiences, you can send your stories to teatalestalks@gmail.com or send them to us through our spooky stories submission form in our link tree. We
Thank you.
appreciate you so much for doing this with us.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course. Thank you.
And
I'm
also
honored to.
And be sure to follow us on Instagram, T-Tails Talks, to keep up to date with everything we're up to in all of our upcoming spooky episodes. You also want to give Star a follow as well over
Please
at
do.
Creepy Shit Podcast. And then until next time, our twitchy witchy friends, stay spooky and don't let your tea get cold.
Yay.
Thank you.
You know it. All right. You guys have a good day. I'll see you later.
Thank you.
too.
Talk soon.
Okay,
Bye, Star.
bye.